We are live. Hey everyone, good morning. Good morning to one and all. RT Bear here, coming to you live from Hack Shack Studios. Live. Let's do it live. Yeah, I'm a 40-year comic book veteran of this wacky industry that we know and love. Mainly working for Marvel and DC, but have done a little stint at Image Comics. You might remember, and did have done a little bit of independent stuff, black and white, Chrono Mechanics, put out an art book. Yeah, I'm going indie these days. I'm an indie guy. No shame here. I'm indie. It used to be like when you say, "Oh, you're an indie guy," that was not good. Like mainstream would, independence. No. And to be honest, independence in the day, because I started in the independence, yeah, you don't get paid. You don't make a lot of money, and sometimes you don't get paid at all. I worked for Apple. I think they were called Apple Studios, and that was the Wendy and Richard Pini uh, company, and they publish Myth Adventures and stuff like that. They're the ElfQuest people, if you don't know them by name, and they owe me a bunch of money. They still owe me money, um, and but it was a good thing, I think, because if they didn't stiff me, I probably would have stayed in the independents and not gone to Marvel or DC. I would have just stayed there because the money was decent when we got paid. I was working with Jim Valentino. Yeah, when we got paid, but they stopped paying us our second half of our payment. We got the beam pad. What's up, man? What is up? Good morning. And you guys, if you don't know the morning Hullaballoo stuff, this is interactive, man. I just wing it. I don't really have a direction. I don't really have a show. I just kind of hang out with you guys. So the interaction is definitely something. It's really the only way this show continues, because I just rip off of you guys. I answer your questions, and we crack jokes and just have a good time. So this is very interactive. So I invite you to chime in the chat. Hey, we got Tommy, or no, it's Timmy Mello. They call me Timmy Mello. Yeah, I do have a few things prepared. And I do have some black and white updates to give to you to show off. I like these show off streams. One of my favorite things as a kid was the show and tell. Remember that when you're in elementary school? You got to bring one of your favorite things to school and show off the class. And then the class was just like bored out of their mind. And you were bored out of your mind until you could get to your thing you wanted to share. And then all of a sudden you were really excited, and everybody else was just like, come on, get on with it. I want to show my stuff off. And I would usually bring comic book stuff. Yeah, superheroes and music. Actually, I'd bring music, and we play some of my silly kid albums, and I would show off some of my comics. And like I said, all the kids would, be bored out of their mind. But yeah, so we got that, and so this is about an hour. We do about an hour for the morning hullabaloo. So, like I said, I hope everybody's doing good out there. And if you don't know, like I said, I am independent these days. I'm doing a book right now. I got a campaign on Indiegogo. It is in demand. It's called Black and White, and it's volume 2. It's the follow-up to the epic origin saga, and it's called Man versus Machine. And we're going to close that bad boy up fairly soon. So if you haven't backed it, or if there's anything you want that you had your eyes on, feel free to go back before we close that bad boy out. I'm going to show you, just in case there's some newbies out there that don't know what I'm talking about. It's always good to update people. And like I said, show stuff off. You got to show your stuff off. So this is black and white. This is what I'm talking about. This is volume 2, Man versus Machine. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be ... black and white. So we just turned this bad boy over to 13301. So yeah, this is doing really really well, beyond anything I really expected. So I'm really overwhelmed at what you guys were able to do here, and these things are only as good as the backers. These things only exist because of the backers and the support that we get on these campaigns. So I do always appreciate this, and this book exists because of you. So hold on for a sec. There's a lot of got allergies. There's a lot of stuff in the air today. So yeah, this is the book. This is what all the hullabaloo is about. Black and white man versus machine. So here is the cover for the first, the main book, I should say. This is my artwork, and so we have some variants. So we got Kenneth Rocafort, who has put his considerable talents into this campaign. So this is a variant. We still have this available, and we have the Joe Bennett variant. I was in a conversation with Joe just after Marvel let him go from Hulk because they didn't like his politics. Shame on you, Marvel. You have no business dictating what people should be into and what they shouldn't. That's their private life. They're entitled to their opinions, but apparently, in this day and age, if your opinions don't match that of the corporation, then they eradicate you. They get rid of you. So I was just on the, on the private message. I guess it was Facebook, and Joe and I were talking, and I just said, sorry to hear about your Hulk, you being canceled from Marvel, and I thought it was a great book. I thought your Hulk looked fantastic and everything, and he just threw out there. He said, hey, if you have anything, I would love to do some black and white drawings. And I was like, I don't really have anything, but if you wanted to do a variant cover, I would greatly appreciate that. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And and the next thing I know, I have these pencils. And I asked him, I said, because we worked with each other a few times in the past, but most recently, we did Terminator Deathstroke for the New 52, and then we did the New 52 Hawkman together with Mark Polton and Rob Liefeld, writers. And so he was doing breakdowns, and I was doing finishes over his stuff. I don't think it was official, but they were pretty much breakdowns. I don't think there was any rendering, just kind of outlines and some spot blacks. And I liked working like that. So I asked him to do like a breakdown style. And then I would add, the rendering and stuff like that to the piece. And so that's what he did. And then he came back with this thing. And look at how fantastic it is. He makes it look so easy. Uh, Joe is a fantastic artist. So we have this variant. Thank you so much, Joe. I do appreciate it. He's a good guy. I do believe he's working with Eric July right now on Alpha. Is it Alpha Core? And that book looks fantastic. I think Chuck Dixon is writing that, so that's a good combination. So you guys should check that one out as well. So then this one I am extremely proud of, and I got something to show you uh, concerning this high octane book. So this is Comicsgate's own Pedro Eng. So Pedro was just kind of hanging out in the chat on a couple shows, and then I was talking to him, and he just sent me an animation piece, which I could probably find and show to you. Black and white characters in his style in this animation, this cool, Pedro Eng animation style. And so it was so good. I kept thinking, I got to do something. I got to work with this guy. And I came up with this high octane idea, and then I pitched the idea to Von Klaus to write. Von Klaus came up with a 22-page adventure and gave that off to Pedro, and he drew a fantastic book. This is an all ages book. You can read this with your kid. You can give this to your kid. I'm very very proud of this. Black and white, the Man versus Machine. Kids can read that too. It's not there's nothing gratuitous about it or anything like that. But this is definitely, if you have any concerns, this book is G-rated for the little guys. So I think they would love it, and it's in a style that they can wrap their little brains around, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm very proud of this. And so then we have the volume 1 second printing. We completely sold out. Completely. That's not hyperbole. We completely sold out of volume 1. I have copy, one copy for my records. That's all I have of this book, the original book. The rest were completely sold, and so we went with a second printing, and I overprinted these bad boys just because I can't believe that I only have one copy of the original volume 1. So we have this, and that's available in the campaign. So it's a two-part story. So if you don't have volume 1 but are thinking about picking up 2, you should get both of those, and it'll give you a nice complete story. I'm very proud of it. I call it the origin saga because it's basically how the two got together, Reed Blackett and Whitney Sung, and then how they kind of donned this vigilante guise of black and white to bring down one of Whitney's past, like a guy that had wronged her and her family in the past, and he has come back to haunt her. So she wants to put an end to that, and Reed Blackett helps her do that. So we don't have any. I should pull this down. We don't have any more of the black and white layouts, the add-ons, but these are what the layouts look like. And then we have all kinds of cool stretch goals. And you guys, if you back today, you will still get all of these stretch goals. So I didn't, my wife and I, Pamela, we did not take down any of these stretch goals. So you will still get all of these stretch goals. So just know that. And then I do believe we have a couple more of these Keshi figures. So we have 11 out of 20. So we still have 9 available. So if you want to get those, feel free. And like I said, we are going to bring this campaign to an end fairly soon. I'm thinking that once the book comes in from the printer, that we'll probably start closing it down. So it should be next month, maybe the end of next month. I'm not really sure because a lot of these timelines are up in the air. So just to back up a little bit, Black and White Volume 2 and the High Octane book are at the printers right now. They said we would get them by the end of the month. Keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get those. This is one of the things I wanted to share with you guys. So this is a make ready. So this is not a proof. This is the actual book. They just don't staple it together or anything. So it's kind of free. But it's the actual book. So the paper, the cardboard stock for the cover is the same, and the interior paper stock. So this is basically the book. Let me show you. I don't want to show you too much because I want it to be a surprise. Actually, I do want to show you the whole book, but so this is the back cover, and so Pedro did a fantastic job. I did a little bit of art direction, but he did all the execution. So we got a few more new illustrations from Pedro for the credit page and the back inside cover. And so if there's any agents or anybody thinking of using Black and White for something, here's my contact info, Circle of Confusion, and let's make some animated cartoons. And so then this is the book. So you can see they're like it's not stapled. Well, actually, wait a minute. It is stapled. It fell apart yesterday. Maybe it was just the cover. Well, actually, they did put some staples in it, so they made a liar out of me. So these aren't. So it's saddle stitched. So this is basically what the interior will look like. So here's the middle. Oh no, see, it is falling apart. there are staples in it, but yet it still falls apart. So I don't know why there are, like this part right here is stapled together. Oh, there's only one staple in it. I don't know how they do these things, but yeah, the book looks absolutely fantastic. I guess it's just the first couple pages that are detached, but they are attached. I don't know what they're doing, but anyway, it makes it very confusing for people like me. So yeah, this is the High Octane Adventures, Pedro Ang artwork, and Von Klaus writing. Von Klaus and I, well, it's based on a story that I did. I gave Von, and then he just took and riffed off of it and came up with a fantastic story. And then all the dialogue and stuff is kind of a jam between Von Klaus, Pamela, my wife, and myself. So Pamela's got a really good way of giving a voice to the characters. Like it's just like a natural ability. Like she can just write this stuff. I can come up with some ideas. So basically, what it is how we work together, Pamela and I, is I plot the thing. I come up with the story. She has some input, so she's more like a sounding board. But she'll tell you, like as far as story plot, she doesn't really. She doesn't really. That's not where she shines. And then I'll write some basic dialogue. Usually dialogue. If I have an idea, I'll write it in the margins, or I'll just suggest it as we're going, and then she'll just kind of riff off that. And the voices are always consistent. She knows how these characters talk. She knows these characters inside and out, and it's really amazing to work with somebody like that. So even somebody like as good as Von Klaus is, I still filter everything through Pamela because she knows these characters. And we have spent 30 years with these guys now since 94. So this year we are going to do something for the 30th. So I have this. This is the next story arc. So this is my bullet points. Pamela put these together. So as a working title, the next black and white story arc is going to be called The Sins of the Father. So the way I'm looking at the next black and white story arc is there's 2 volumes to the origin saga, but I'm looking at the next story arc as a continuation of the origin. Like these characters aren't fully formed yet. So I always thought, I mean, old comics were pretty pat, right? It's like you have a few pages. I don't know. Peter Parker gets bit by a spider. He gets spider powers and then makes a costume and goes and fights crime, right? That's pretty much it. You know, there's not a lot of complication to it. So I think audiences are a little bit more sophisticated today, and also, you know, we have an older audience that we're writing these comics for instead of just children. And so the way I'm looking at it is this: it's an evolution. These characters are evolving into these personas of black and white. So the one thing, like it's just so packed, the old origins, boom, they're the characters, and then that's it. Then all the stories are like them fighting crime or doing whatever. So the way I'm looking at the next story arc is that it's going to be Reed's origin. So volume 1 and 2 is pretty much Whitney Sung's origin. So it's kind of her story, even though they're both there, but it's kind of focused on her demons, her fight, and putting that to rest. So then the black and white Sins of the Father will be Reed Blackett, his story. And we hint upon the story in volume 1 and 2. So there is some setup for Reed's origin story. We just haven't really told it. So we just kind of whet the appetite for it. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do with the next story arc. So I'm kind of I don't want to announce the writer I'm working with because I'm still kind of brainstorming, and I want to see if it works out. Because I'm all about chemistry and about working with people, and if the chemistry isn't really there and it's like pulling teeth, then I don't really want to work with that person. So what I'm looking for is enthusiasm, ideas, and just easy workflow. So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm not slowing down. So I'm working on this stuff every day, trying to get it going, and then just brainstorming for like something fantastic for the 30th anniversary. I have this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I did this like little thumbnail for the 30th. So we have. Let me see. We have this gun sight with the yin yang design uh, for black and white. So it'll have like the yin yang gun sight with a 3 off to the side. So hopefully it'll read as 30th or 30. And so we can do stuff with that design. So we can make patches. One thing we do with all the black and white campaigns and the Chrono campaigns is we do these patches, and they come out fantastic. We got a great manufacturer, and so we'll probably do a commemorative 30th anniversary. I like some of these challenge coins, or these. They have another name for them. Um, but I think that would look cool for like a challenge coin with the 30th anniversary logo on there. But just, I mean, I got a little bit of time to think about it, but I'm going to come up with some really great stuff for the 30th, and I think it'll be fantastic. So 30 years, 1994 was the birth of black and white. So I can't believe that you guys are keeping this thing alive, this dream, these characters going, and so we're going to do something big. And so the way I'm looking at the future is we have the campaign that we're working on now, so we're going to go in fulfillment. So hopefully we will get the books back from the printer for volume 2 the end of this month. Then we're going into fulfillment. So once Pamela and I have set up the fulfillment, people are getting their books, then we will probably close down the campaign. Excuse me. So like I said, you guys, if there's anything you want in the campaign, back it now, because it's going to go away probably in a month. So then once that's going, then we're going to do let me see if I have it around here. I usually have the book somewhere. I can't find it. Where is it? It's always here. It's my art book. So the art book, oh, here it is. The next campaign will be oodles of doodles and other stuff too. So what I'm thinking we'll do with this is I'll do a pre-launch, a sign-up page. We'll probably do that fairly soon, next couple weeks or so. And then, so we'll get the sign-ups, and then here's a couple interiors. And then we're going to go back to print with this. I only have 8 copies of this as well for my own records. So I think in one of these live streams I found like I searched the book. The books on eBay are going for close to $100. So the book with a head sketch in it, I think, is $100. So there is some demand for it, and you guys have said, how can I get this book? And so we're going to go back to print. But what I'm thinking of doing is you guys will get the original Oodles book intact. So all the same pages will be here. But what we can do with the upcoming campaign is we can add pages to it. So I've done a lot of commissions for Comicsgate characters. So we can do like a Comicsgate section in the book. So we can crowdfund for that as a stretch goal. We can do a new cover for the book as a stretch goal. So we can create a new Oodles book with your help. So then it will be original, and then we can build a bigger and better book. And so I'm looking forward to that, and that will probably be late March, somewhere like middle late March. I'm thinking for that book. So you know what? I'm ignoring you guys. So Let's see what you guys are doing. Timmy says Immortal Hulk was amazing run in the mid of Marvel's craziness. Yeah, they're 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 just hell bent on destroying their legacy. All these companies are Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, Disney. They're all hell bent on this new agenda-driven entertainment. Hello, Art. How are you? I'm doing good, Leg Kick. I hope you're doing good as well. Sark says, "Morning. What is this? Paulus Arts, Hell Art, Hell Chat, uh, Unhinged, Unhinged." I love you too, man. Love all you guys. This is the best. Let's see. Timmy says, "I think it's Pedro's birthday today." It is. It is Pedro's birthday. Pedro Ang is 50 years old. If you guys follow him on social media, wish him a happy birthday. And if you don't follow him on social media, do so. Give him a follow. You know, the sun keeps changing. Now it's overcast, and I realize it looks like I'm in the dark. I'm going to brighten up my face here. This looks depressing. Let me see. It's a little better. Looks kind of washed out now. Let's increase the saturation. Ooh, look at that. Let's check the gain. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, ooh. Let me see. I'm a little too red. Change the saturation. I could go completely black and white. Look at that. We could do the rest of the show as black and white in black and white. Bring some color back to my face. Boom. That's good. That looks good. All right. There we go. And then all of a sudden the sun will come back out, and then I'll just be glowing. Yeah, so you guys go wish Pedro a happy birthday. And if you don't follow him on the social media, do so. All of his posts are great. Edwin the Ace, Volume 3, coming soon. Hell Peeps. Indeed. The peeps are in the house. Hey, it's Joe Bernardo. We got a party here now. Aloha, Art. Great to have a hullaballoo. Indeed. Indeedy do. I like when you guys like say hi to each other and stuff. It's cool. It's like we're all friends, like we're all at a party. And it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? Let's see. We got the Comic Crusader, the Comic Relief Crusader. Art, hell to you. Thank you for all you do. Thanks to you, I am working on my own comic too at 52 on the 25th. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, you know what? There's plenty of room for everybody. And if there's any way I can help, let me know in the future. I'm going to try to, I used to do a spotlight where I would take like some of these indie projects and spotlight them. So I would like to start doing that. So I called it Hacks Chat. So it was kind of an interview, but we also focused on the IP that person was doing. And I was thinking, I used to do these reviews like early on this show. I did reviews, and I think I did early on like what's his name, Willis. What the hell is that guy's name? He's a fantastic artist, Rob Willis. And I think I did a review. I feel bad because I mean, it was really good if I remember right. It was they were Batman pages, and there was just some compositionally like awkward stuff and perspective. But other than that, it was fantastic. So I think I did some of you guys early on some of these reviews, and now you're like major comic book artists. But I would like to do that again. The only problem is I'm a bear of little brain, like Pooh Bear, and technology just is not my thing. So it's storage problems. So if I opened it up like portfolio reviews, I would get a bunch of portfolios like artwork from you guys, and I guess I would just set up a file and then just put those into a file. But what I was thinking of doing is that maybe if we did it every week, and then you guys just hit me with stuff for that week, but I don't store it. Like I just save one portfolio, the one I pick, And then the next week you guys send me new stuff, and then I pick one, and then send me new stuff and I pick one. So I don't have like I'm not inundated with all these files of different artwork, because it gets a little daunting. Because I remember when I did it before, I had Taylor Grosso, and she was great as far as the technology and keeping track of all this stuff, and so she helped out quite a bit behind the scenes. And I just don't have that. And also, to be real honest, I don't really have the drive to do it. Like, I don't really want to do it. Um, it seems like a lot of time and a lot of energy, and I would just kind of rather put that into creating, versus too much of this other stuff. But I'll figure it out. But just if you guys are aspiring artists and you want a portfolio review, um, we can work that out. So those are two things that I'm thinking of bringing back. So one, if you guys are comic creators, I'll just stay tuned, and I'll give you the go ahead, and then we can start doing that stuff again. Because I miss doing the YouTube stuff. I'm probably not very good at it, but I do like hanging out with you guys. So we can continue with some interactive shows. That's what I like. I like the interactive stuff. So we got Joe Bernardo, the updated oodles. I would so be in for it. I never got the first one, and with your art now, I would love to get a I get a one with the new black and white stuff too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any character design updates? Yeah, there's gonna be stuff in there as well. So I was thinking we would do maybe a CG section. There's a lot of new artwork, what new-ish, that wasn't in that Oodles book. I have enough art for a Oodles 2, actually. I was working with somebody to put that together, but it's just it's a one-man show here, so it takes time to do these things. So yeah, there'll be a black and white section, and what I'm thinking is that, like, as stretch goals, so we could do like a new cover. And then one thing the original book had was it had a dust cover. The dust cover was great, and the dust cover had it had a Kevin Nolan. He reviewed the book. It was awesome. And then Kevin and I did a con drawing. I did a Batman sketch, and then he was sitting next to me, and I just said, "Would you mind inking this?" And he inked it up. It was a slow show, so he inked it up. I still have that thing somewhere, and so I used that artwork in there. So there's a piece of RT Bear and Kevin Nolan artwork in the sleeve. It's like, how like the dust sleeve folds at the spine and then kind of curves a little bit, and then there's that little piece of flap right there. It's in there. And then on the back one is my bio. It's a really great looking book. It came out fantastic. But those dust covers are expensive. So we could crowdfund for the dust cover as well. So we can basically create the book, like Joe says. Like, it could have like the black and white stuff for the new book. So because I got a bunch of stuff all over the place here. Let me see. I got this. I don't know if this will show up, but there's this I'm working on. So this is a little preview here. So I got a bunch of little doodles. They're all over the place here, and we can put those in, and that could be like a little, because it will come out before Sins of the Father, the next black and white story arc. So see the light, see it. I knew it was going to do that. Texas is weird, man, because there's so much cloud coverage. It actually changes the lighting, so it gets dark and then it gets bright and then it gets dark and it gets bright. So now we're in the bright phase. So anyway, yeah, we can build that together, and we can do. It'll be like a preview for the new series, for the new book. So it'll be like a sneak peek section of like black and white work in progress. So we could do that, definitely, Joe. But for that, I believe we would probably have to do those as stretch goals, because one of the things I do want to do with this, this campaign is if we go with the book, this is done. I have the files and I have the printer. We might look into another printer, but this came out so good. I'm not sure I want to tempt fate with a different printer, but we are going to look into that. And it depends on a lot of different things, but we could do it now. Like we could actually print these things now if we just did the book as is. We could send it to the printer, we get the books. Also, this is going to be limited. This is going to be a limited print run. The original print run was limited as well. I think there might have been 500 books printed. So these will be signed and numbered as well. So we might do 500 again. It really depends. But if we didn't change the book, we could go print the book now. So I I think I'm done with like the lower print runs. So I would probably do 1,000. So then we could do the numbering system, 1 out of 1,000, 2 out of 1,000, and so on and so forth, and just basically ramp up the collectability, and just make it a special collector's book, and also there'll be a sketch section. I'm not sure, like what I did originally is I did the same sketch in every book because it just goes faster. But what I'm thinking of maybe doing this time out is like this page right here. I kept this page right here for like a sketch. Also, we do the signed and numbered part on this page. So I do the sketch, right in there. But I was thinking of maybe doing like requests. I have a little bit of time to hurt myself, and I would love to do it because I love drawing different things. Like based on suggestions, I think it would be fun. But it's really going to depend on how much time I have because it will be more time consuming. And if I do that, it'll be a premium price. It won't be it won't be like what a standard like headshot would be, because these would be all unique and custom, so they would be a little bit more expensive. Or maybe I could do both. I could have like the standard headshot, and then I could have the more custom headshot as a premium tier. We got Philip. What's up, brother? Speaking of some guy, like just came out of the blue, started hanging out in CG, and created an empire, a freaking empire. Zaid Comics, you guys. These brothers are freaking moving and shaking, and they're not afraid of success. They're just going, creating stuff, and just taking names. I'm just so proud of these guys. They're so good. Never say never, never say die. The Comic Relief Crusader says, kind of new here. Oh, well, welcome, brother. Welcome to my channel, Hack Shack Studios. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And everybody hit that thumbs up, hit that bell for notifications. It does help. I am going to make a concerted effort to do more of these. So welcome, the Comic Relief Crusader. We got Wizard and Board Time Lord. That kind of rhymes. RT Bear, hey, could you ever get Jim Valentino on for an interview? I would love to. One thing, like Jim is starting to make the rounds, so I think it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. I am going to ask Rob Liefeld. I don't think he'll do it, but there might be a chance because his observations, he brings me up from time to time. So I know that there's a past there, and there could be a good kind of like reminisce, kind of stuff of the early days. You could get a glimpse of what it was like, two guys breaking in the industry together. I mean, I knew Rob before he was working professionally, and I think he knew me as well just before I started working with Jim Valentino. So Jim was the glue that brought pretty much brought it all together. So it was Jim, Rob Liefeld, myself, and there was a guy named Brian Murray who is also kind of, people don't really know him as much because he didn't do a lot of comic book work, but like the four of us were kind of like the Orange County kind of clique, right? And then like San Diego was Jim Lee and the Homage guys, Will Spataccio and Scott Williams. And then there was like the LA beach areas. I'm gonna turn this light back on because it's getting cloudy out. And then like Mark Silvestri was the LA beaches. You know, and the cool thing is I lived close to San Diego. I did later move. So the 15 freeway was just like an hour and a half to get to Jim, like La Jolla, to Jim Lee's Homage. And then I later moved to the LA beaches, Hermosa and Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach. I lived all those places. And then Silvestri just lived up Sepulveda or PCH in Malibu. So it was just like maybe a 15-20 minute, well, probably like 20 minutes, half-hour drive. Wasn't bad. So, and then of course the Orange County thing. So I kind of lived in all these three, and I kind of connected all these groups because I moved around quite a bit. They stayed stationary. And so, yeah, I would love to get Valentino, possibly Rob, cross your fingers. And then one guy that's actually kind of making the rounds now is Mike Carlin, who was editor-in-chief at DC for a while. He was my editor on Adventures of Superman and oversaw all the Superman books. And I would say, like in the early days, he was a big time mentor. So he was kind of like my dad in comics. So he had a lot of patience with me in the early days and taught me a lot about discipline and getting things done. And might be able to get that guy in here. And later we had a little bit of a love-hate because I was always working at Marvel at the same time I was working at DC, but those X books were happening, and I was kind of leaving the Superman camp, and it's just like a father and son. It's like a breakup, right? It's like leaving home, and it was tough. So we had a little bit of a love-hate. I'm sure he won't see it the same way as I did, because I'm kind of romanticizing it. But I am forever grateful to that guy. What you talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. I never do know what I'm talking about. I'm just winging it here. Kino Reviews says, hell to the chat. Hell indeed. The newbie is really chiming in here. I'm working with an ex-Marvel DC guy who doesn't want to get doxxed because or royalties. He's a good guy. Is that because of the CG connection? I'm telling you right now, the industry just has to get over it. There are people that say they're progressive that they just hate anything to do with the right. If you even say the word or the name Donald Trump, they have a hissy fit, and that's absolutely crazy. So let's see what Joe says. Which island, brother? If you go to, I can't say that. You should go to Dole Plant and the North Shore to get surf lessons at Sand and Sea Surf Shop. I surfed when I was a kid, when I was a young guy. I was never that good at it, so I got beat up quite a bit. I mean, you can get not hurt. I didn't get hurt, but you get beat up. You're exhausted after a good hour or so out there. When I go on vacation, Joe, I'm all about R&R. It's relaxation. I don't do shit like these guys are like, oh, let's go hiking in the whatever, or let's climb this mountain. Let's go. What is that? Where you get dragged by you got a parachute, you get dragged by a boat, or you go scuba diving, or deep sea, swimming, or any of that. I don't do any of that crap. I hang out by the pool with a drink, and then I just eat good food and just hang out. Usually, when I would vacation, I haven't vacationed in a while, I would find a book. Um, because I don't really have time to read anymore. So I just find a book and just sit by the beach or by the pool and just relax and read. And I found that great. Just being in an environment away from the studio was really good for me, because it's hard for me to relax where I work, because I always just feel like I should be working. So vacations are good. And in the day when I was really, really putting out a lot of work, um, every year my wife and I took a vacation. So we would do Maui. I think I did Maui 2 or 3 times. I actually, hold on, I got my hat, my Maui hat right here. I don't know if this place is still there, but we would go to what was it called? The Grand Walea Resort. So we would vacation there. Um, and Kona, we did Kona, and it was kind of like this freaking like Disney World hotel. They had like, we didn't do it, but my daughter did. You could swim and pet dolphins. So she was maybe 10, 9, 10, 11, something like that. And so we paid for her to go do that, and she had a blast. So we got pictures of her with the dolphins and stuff like that. So that was cool. And Kona is like it's a rock beach. It's not a sand beach. So there's like, I guess, um, coral and stuff on it. So you have to, if you're going to walk on the beach, you have to wear shoes. But this resort had like, it was so big, they had like water canals, and you could take like little boats, so you could walk right out from your hotel, like some of those like motor lodges. You walk right out and there's your car and there's the parking lot. It's kind of like, think like that, but as soon as you get out, there's like a water taxi, and you get on the water taxi and it can take you to the main building, or it can take you to these different restaurants and stuff around the resort there. It was massive. And then they had pools, but then there was like a natural kind of swimming area. And what they did is, I forget what they called it, where you kind of build a body of water, and so it's like the waves kind of hit like a breaker, and then the water comes into, almost like creates a lake. And so what they did is they did something like that, where there was like a swimming area, and then there's like these, not canals, but like little like stream type things that would open up on other swimming areas. And so the cool thing about that is, like, sea turtles, and you got some other things in there too, but a lot of sea turtles would go in there, and just, they would just live in that area. So you could, it's one of the few times that I did rent a snorkel. My daughter and I rented snorkels, and we went out and swam around in this area. And those turtles are massive, like their heads are the size of a human head. And we kind of swam with the turtles. And if you could see them from a distance, and stuff, and knew that they were there, it was cool. But I remember, like, this is natural, so this isn't like a concrete basin or anything. It's sand, and it's like there's soot and stuff in the water, so you can't see real well. Especially if you go down to the bottom and kind of kick around, you'll kick all that stuff up. So you kind of want to stay away from the bottom. And so we're swimming, and it's also, there was like these caves, and so it got a little dark. So I'm swimming, and I'm swimming next to the cave, and there's these openings, and then I looked, and I'm like, oh shit! I like jumped back. It was a turtle like head. It was in the cave, and the head was kind of poking out, just enough that the light kind of hit it, and I was like, oh. oh shit, man. That scared the crap out of me. And then as we were swimming back, um, my daughter saw manta rays or whatever those, they're like the water snakes. Um, and I told her, because we went to the surface, she saw it. Then we went to this. I said, "Go to the surface." And I said, "Be careful, because I think those things they'll turn on you. They get short tempers, so don't mess with them." So of course, just like a kid would do, we went back down. It was still there. She swam right up to it. I got a picture because I had an underwater camera. That thing flipped around on her and kind of came at her. She's like, "Wow!" And I said, "See, your dad knows stuff. You should listen to me." So those are the two. I kept away from the Hawaiian, like the more like touristy areas, because I never wanted to do the touristy thing. I just kind of wanted a hotel where I could just disappear. You know what I mean? Like I could just be away from everything. And so I never did any of those tours. We did because we had a rent a car. So one time when we went to, uh, I think it might have been, I think even in Kona we did it, Maui and Kona. Well, we drove around the island. There's these nice roads that you can kind of drive along the ocean. And I think Maui, we almost drove all the way around the island. It's not a very big island. And then Kona was really, it seemed like there was a lot of people that lived there. So there were neighborhoods and stuff like that. It was really, really quaint. And we got to see like more of Kona, like the day-to-day stuff, because we had these little shoes for Amanda, our daughter. And whenever we go in the water, we wore these like little swim shoes because, like I said, that it's a coral beach and stuff like that. So I told her, wear your shoes. She was going to go in the water without them. And she goes, "I'll be fine." And I said, "Get your shoes." And she goes, "I can only find one." Later, years later, we found she hid the other shoe because she didn't want to wear it, right? Little girls, whatever. And so then we were swimming across this one area. So the other side, like I said, there were like these little streams and stuff. It was all natural. It was like foliage everywhere. It was really nice. We swam across and then we were going to swim back. Well, sometimes you kick off rocks, to propel you. That's what she did. And she cut herself on that coral, soft skin because it's been in water. Oh my gosh, just blood everywhere. And so I panicked because this opens up into the sea, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, Jaws, right? So, and it was deep water, so I just grabbed her. I knew I could swim faster, so I had her under my arm and I swam out of the water and got her to the shore. And so long story short, we couldn't control the bleeding. And also they said if coral gets into an open wound, um, coral can grow, like there's something that's in there and it can grow under the skin. So I cleaned it out pretty good. The hotel helped me with stuff, and so but it wouldn't stop. So we had to find a doctor to stitch it up. So we were driving through, Kona, and man, I'm sure it was expensive, but like little beach bungalows and stuff. It was really quaint. And so it wasn't a hospital. It was kind of like this guy's house or whatever that was kind of a hospital. And so he cleaned it out and stitched her up. And so we were good after that. But we did get to see quite a bit of the island that way. So let's see what Richard says. Hell art, hell chat, hell comics gate, and bananas to all. Yes, Joe, black and white, two sins of the father. Yeah, it will be like, I don't know. I don't know if we should call it two, because we have volume one, volume two. I don't know how confusing it will be. So I'm not sure if it's gonna have a number, because also sins of the father will be two issues. So we're gonna do it the same, but we're going to try to get the books out a lot quicker. So we're still going to try to do maybe two 48 page or see how it goes. But like the working number is like 48 pages, so 248 pages. So roughly 100-page story. But I'm not sure about the numbering system because I think it might get confusing. So volume one, volume two, and then if we do the next, because each one of the volumes has a name, like a title. So we would have a title, but I don't know if it should be like volume one, volume two, like we should do the same thing, but they just have different titles. I'm not really sure how to do that without being confusing, but definitely, and I think Sins of the Father, it explains the story without, giving too much away. Oh, you're going to go on vacation. Yeah, Maui's great. It's a nice little island. I haven't been in probably 10 years or so. So I heard it's kind of building up. There's a lot of hotels and stuff. But when I think there was the Four Seasons and then there was our hotel. So there was just kind of the two. So Daniel Russell, good morning, Art and chat. Good morning. Good to see you. Let's see what Daniel says. Can you speak on your thoughts of where CG is now with the drama and fighting and people breaking off into different cliques? There's always been this. This is kind of in the Comicsgate DNA. I don't know how long you've been hanging out with us, Daniel, but there's always been these rifts, and I think it's just human nature. I I mean it is and can be destructive, but I think it's kind of it just happens. Image Comics was good for a while, and then the founders were at each other's throats. Like you would think like you built this fantastic thing. Why would you be at each other's throats? It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not these other people. So everybody has a different take on things. Everybody wants something different from situations. People are people. So being where I'm at now, being 40 years in the industry and seeing a lot of stuff like this, not just with Comicsgate, like I said, Image Comics, there's a lot of short-sighted people. There's a lot of people that are hell-bent on doing things their way. There are people that are just flat out self-destructive. There's all kinds of different people. And so Comicsgate is a group of people, you guys, creative people, everything, but not everybody's going to see eye to eye on every detail. So I just think like these things happen. Call them growing pains, call them differences of opinions, creative differences, whatever they are. There's always going to be these things. They're always going to happen. So some people also excel in those arenas. I love Rob Liefeld. He's a good guy. I consider him a friend, but that guy likes a good fight, and he excels in that area. Like he does well in that tension. He kind of gets pumped up. It motivates him. It's like, I'll show you kind of thing. So there are people that are like that. And everything I'm saying right now, I'm not judging. I don't care. I really don't. And so I think that's why, like, none of this stuff matters to me. CG will be whatever CG is going to be. I really don't have control over it. All I have control over is like hanging out with you guys, my YouTube channel, my books, my IP, stuff like that. So my concern is always just you guys, just having this personal connection. I'm very thankful for it. And CG is what is the business model, if you want to call it that, that provided this. This is the shift. I do believe, I mean, there isn't a Comicsgate mission statement, per se, but there is this underlying culture war that I do believe in, and I do believe it's worthy of a fight. I do believe speaking out, against some of this stuff is good. I don't really see any promise coming from anything that we used to know and love, from Marvel Comics, DC Comics, from Warner Brothers, from Disney, from any of these entities. They seem to be going into a place that I don't even recognize. My wife and I were talking at breakfast, just like morality, I don't even have faith that they could tell a story that resonates or connects as any kind of truth to me, because morality is shifting, and that's their goal. The powers that be are trying to just indoctrinate and normalize a lot of stuff that I just don't think is worthwhile. I don't think it's going to benefit humanity in the long run. You can call me traditional, you can call me a Republican, you can call me, conservative, whatever it is. I don't care. I don't care the label. That's just how I feel. People get hung up on labels. I'm here. I consider myself CG. I consider myself at this moment in time Republican, so conservative, because that's where my beliefs are. It sides with the way I feel and the way I believe right now. So I don't try to get involved with the drama with CG. Sometimes you can't avoid it. And Daniel, if I'm asked directly, I'll try to answer things the best I can. So I don't shy away from it either. I just don't really try to throw fuel on the fire. I just try to, because I believe my place in CG is just to be that guy, just to be kind of consistent, I guess maybe keep my nose clean, to just be that guy. And uh, that's just how I've always been, so I've been a guy that, not that I shy away from drama, but I don't really rush to it either. I remember as a kid, you'd have something that had happened in the neighborhood, like, I don't know, there would be a car crash or something happened, a fire or something, and there would be these people that would just rush to it. They just wanted to see it, right? I wasn't that guy. Like, I have a pretty good imagination. If somebody goes, "Oh, two cars crashed at an intersection," I go, "Okay, I can kind of figure that one out. I don't have to see it." A house on fire. If I can't help, why would I go? Like, I would only do these things if I felt I could help, put out a fire, or a crash or something like that. And it was never my style to do that. So like I said, not that I run away from it, but I don't feel the need to be part of it. So like I said, to each his own. People that want to be part of it can be part of it. There's always collateral damage. I'm going to try to, stay out of it as much as possible. I don't chase it. I don't try to give anybody a reason to come after me, or start any kind of controversy. But having said that, I do realize that part of the strength of Comicsgate is the controversy. I do understand that. I do understand that, part of it is calling people out. Part of it is like saying things that people might not want to hear, for right or wrong. So people that do that in Comicsgate, I don't condemn them either, because I think it's part of what Comicsgate is. Like I said, if Comicsgate had a mission statement, it would be there would be controversy in there. Not to shy away from controversy, say the difficult things, and I do. Last night on Pontificators, we talked about, Marvel Cinematic, and just the sham that Marvel is, and how very none of us really had a lot of faith in, Marvel moving forward with Fantastic Four or X-Men. Culture stuff, culture war stuff, yeah. But I really don't come after individual creators. I don't do that. If you can attract an audience, however you do it, more power to you. If you can entertain people with your books, more power to you. I mean, we just need more entertainment out there. We need more people happy. We need more escapism. We need those things. So it's not up to me to go, oh well, you're a bad person if you like this book, or you're a bad person if you like that book. If you like it, you like it. If it brings joy to you, and even a 20-minute escapism, reading a comic book, that's worth something, man. So that's why I don't really get involved. So I hope that answers your question, Daniel, without getting too into specifics, because also I try not to argue, even, with people, my wife, I try not to argue about specifics, like, oh, you don't put the lid on the toilet, or the toothpaste, and then that's like the fight. But that's never really what the fight is. The fight is something else. That's just like a window dressing to fight. So I don't like those kind of fights. If I'm going to get involved with the fight, it's going to be real. It's going to be for a reason. It's not just going to be, you left the top of the the toothpaste off. I'm not going to get into those arguments. So Marcus, what's up? Hail all, leg kick. What do you have to say? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Robin Jim would be epic. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to Jim directly in decades. So Rob, I've talked to more recently, but not Jim. So, oh, thank you, Past Master Dan. You don't get enough credit. Thank you for posting links always. Always. Let me see. Joe says art. I would so be in for art review for some of the pages for my creator own project of the graphic novel of my high fantasy novel. Of course. Yeah. If you guys don't know, Joe Bernardo actually was one of the winners in the art contest for the trading cards. So he got a trading card made of black and white. Nice artwork too. Marcus said, Pop XP Nile had a good interview with Jim. Yeah, I was in the chat. I kind of chimed in a little bit here and there. It was good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I've known Jim for probably about 40 years, actually, as long as I've been doing comic books. Maybe a little longer, but not much longer. Let me see. Yes, Art. Yes, because of his political leanings, i.e., conservative versus protective. He's very protective. And that's to each his own. I mean, if you could come with an understanding with him, that's great, man. I mean, because there's a lot of great artists out there that just want to work. They don't even really want to be political. But the problem is in today's world, if you're moderate or you're in the middle, people are still going to push you to one side or the other. Like, you can't just be that neutral person anymore. Like, they're going to, push you until you decide, and that's the difference. There's absolutely no tolerance, and there used to be tolerance on both sides, but there seems like there's a lot more tolerance on the Republican side than there is the Democratic side. And that's why I say at this point, I'm definitely more Republican, because things I hear coming from the Republican side, make a lot more sense to me. They sound sane. I can understand what they're saying. Like this other side, I don't understand anything. Like the Democrats are like, if you don't affirm a boy that wants to get his junk chopped off to become a girl, then you're a criminal. I'm sorry, man. Call me what you will. I can't get behind that. That's weird shit. It's not just weird shit. It's it's criminal to me. It's horrific, because they're doing this to young people. If a person of age wants to do that, an older person, 21, 22, 23, fine. You can't even drink alcohol till you're 21. Society used to have boundaries, how to protect kids, that they figured, well, once you're 21, then you can probably make these decisions a lot better than you could if you start drinking at 13. And so they're letting children before even puberty make these decisions. They're not even sexual creatures yet. They don't even know what this stuff is. And you're affirming them. They call it affirm. That's criminal. Anybody that does that is a sick sick fuck. These are wackadoos. How could you even think about uh, a 13-year-old in any kind of sexual way? That's sick unto itself. So yeah, call me what you will, but yeah, I can't get behind that. Let's see. Timmy says, hopefully the embargo ends soon. The left are being exposed for the hypocrites, frauds that they are, especially in comics. I hope so. They say they want to normalize, weird shit. I just want things to go back to what was normal, Um, but I think they're playing Timmy. I hope you're right, but I think these powers, they don't care about conventional things of the past. Uh, Money, they're playing the long game. They want to normalize behavior. And it's not even that they really want transgenderism or they want any of these things specifically. They just want to fuck everybody's brain up so bad, just in this contradictory thing. Like, that's why it keeps going, because they'll find something new every month or so. They find something new to challenge and to say, this is bad, this is wrong, this is whatever, because the specific thing, it doesn't even really matter. Like transgenderism, any of these things, they don't matter. It's just a way of turning things upside down. And the more they can do that, like normalize it, and then get people to parrot back or to believe these things, that's where the real power is. If you can get somebody to say a boy is a girl or a girl is a boy, or to say there are no genders, then that's power, because you're going against a belief system that existed. You're going against what was agreed upon as a societal norm. And now you're saying that's not what the world is about anymore. It's about this. So these people want to recreate the world. But I think the reason it's just weird like it is because they just want to spin everything out of control. They just want to screw everything up so fundamentally that you can't go back to where it was. And then they can recreate it the way they want to recreate it. And that's what I think is really happening. There was a time I would never believe this. If somebody was talking this way, even 5, 6 years ago, I would say you're a conspiracy knucklehead. But now it seems like it's the only reasonable explanation that can come out of this. So I hope you're right. I hope it's starting to wane. But I think what's really happening is it's a little bit of pushback, so they have to kind of go with the flow a little bit. But then, once things kind of are smooth sailing again, then they'll just bring something else into play. and then they'll see how far they can push that. It's like a kid. All right, you're raising a kid, and you say no, and some kids will stop. Okay, no, I won't stick the fork into the outlet, But there are kids that you say no, they still go to do it. And then you spank them, and then they stop. But then they come back, and the only thing that they can do that will satisfy them is to stick that fork into that socket. All kinds of different people, right? Some people will fly right by a simple don't do that. It's going to hurt you. Some people need more explanation. Some people need penalties. They need to go to jail. They need to be spanked. They need to whatever, for there to be change. But the point is, everybody pushes the limits. Like as a child, you keep pushing the limits because you have to push the limits to find out where the boundaries are. Well, that's what these SJW types are doing, these progressive types, is they're pushing the boundaries of normalcy to see how far they can take it. And it's up to us. That's why it's a culture war. That's why I'm here. That's why a lot of you guys are here. Is because we are that wall. We are the pushback. And if we can keep pushing back and we're strong enough, then it can't go any further. So that's kind of that. You can obviously tell I got some opinions about this. Yeah, I think there's some people that just don't want to get involved, even though they might agree. I've had people privately say stuff like, "I agree with you guys," like really big talent. Some of them have made the jump, but say, "I agree with you guys, but I just don't want the tension." They just want to do comic books. They just want to, draw and stuff like that. So, not speaking for Ed, but maybe he's like that. Ed McGuinness. It was an after party at San Diego one year. We went over to, I think it was Randy Green. It was Ed McGuinness, myself. We went over to Mike Miller's for Brazilian barbecue. And Mike can actually barbecue. Him and his wife can barbecue pretty good. Had a great time and talked about this stuff, and no problem with any of it. So, but that's one thing at a party, with like-minded people. It's another thing putting it out there, on the internet so people can come after you and hate you because you might actually like Donald Trump and what he did for America. You know what I mean? Like the other side liked Obama and what he did for America. So what's the effing difference? Like I didn't like what Obama did for the country. It didn't take long before I saw his true colors, and so I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him again. His second term. So it is what it is. It's horrible that we're at this place, but I do think on some level it's good because I do think there's complacency that sets in, and I think if America is worth it, there has to be a little bit of a fight because there are people that are so un-American. If you put an American flag in your yard, they look at it as a personal affront. They feel like, why are you doing this? You should pull that thing down. Like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You live here. If we can't be united under a belief and a flag, then we'll surely be divided and just fall apart. Like they don't even understand really, really basic stuff. Let me see. Timmy says, same with Jeff Johns. Surprised he hasn't gone CG yet. Well, he's kind of Hollywood guy too, so yeah, it's almost like to be on the right is almost like what you used to think of like homosexuality in the old days, right? Like like gay people wouldn't let anybody know they were gay, so they had this secret life, right? So in Hollywood, they were some of these good-looking dudes, right? And they would play these leading male roles, with hot, um, female co-stars, and it was just an act. They were truly actors, so they were acting not just this character, but acting straight, and because they knew that if they came out, that leading man money would go away. So it was self-preservation. So they didn't do that. But then, years went on, and then, you know, they were able to do that in a more accepting way. But I still think today it still exists. I mean, you hear all these guys that have come out of the closet, after the fact, like they're old people now, old guys, and they're like, I don't know, I can't think of any of the names right now, but they've come out of the closet. It's like because they can't be touched anymore. They don't care. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt their career. Their careers, they're old guys anyways. They're not going to get these kind of roles, so they've just come out. Um, so to me, it's kind of like Hollywood is doing the same thing to, like, you know, Republicans. There's a blacklist. If you come out and say you're Republican, you'll be crucified, you won't work, all those things. So, like these are the progressives that, that's why I put it in the homosexual terms, the gay terms. They would be completely fine, with that. Like if somebody came out, or whatever, and like this is the cliche now. If it fits their narrative, they're behind it. But if it doesn't, they're not. But that's really splitting hairs, because to me, there's no difference. To, like, the analogy I said, like, gay actors of the past with, like, I don't know, conservative Republicans of the present. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a witch hunt. It's still like this entity that is Hollywood or wherever will come down on them and make it hard for them to even exist. And that is the crime. That is why this is horrible, and that is why I feel like I am in the culture war, and I am kind of fighting the fight as much as I can. And for me, it's as much as I can. What I mean by that is, like, and still be me, and still not have it, consume my entire existence. Still to this day, I would say at least 50% of the conversations I have with people and my wife are these things. You know what I mean? Like how the world is kind of going to hell. I don't know how to say this. Is it Hojo, or I guess it would be Hojo? Good morning, my friend. Welcome on. We're almost Texas time. We're almost to the noon hour. So I always say I'm going to go an hour, but I usually go up till noon. So it usually starts around 10 up till noon. I entertain with my looks. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm trying. I went through my collection, so I'm kind of trying to experience like John Byrne, and I've been reading these OMAC books. There, it's a tough haul. I much prefer this. Look at that cover. It's just a normal person, but it's really well done. Um, John Byrne's a badass. But some of this stuff, like Next Man and oh my gosh, I already blanked. OMAC, are they're tough reads. Yeah, they just it's hard for me to get into it. I'm trying. Yeah, well, sometimes that happens. You know, I wasn't pushed into CG. I actually was top of my game at DC Comics. There was nothing personal. DC didn't do anything to me. There was nothing like that. It was just that, I liked what was happening. I kind of like that there was, I guess there's kind of a rebel spirit that is inside of me. And I liked that there was this rebel spirit and that it was about, freedom, independence, doing your own thing. Um, and it made it all that much better that the mainstream, you know, uh, publishers didn't like it. It's kind of like the rebel punker or like the rock and roll guy, right? It's like it's going against the grain, and so I liked that kind of spirit, and I still do. I like that idea of the pushback, and I do feel like it's not just like we're rebelling against our parents, when we were kids and listening to rock and roll and growing our hair out and all that. But I feel it's against I don't know, I'll say it, evil. I think a lot of these people that are I think the president right now, I think he's evil. It's too easy to say he's dumb. I think he's evil. I think the man is doing some horrible things, and I can't believe that anybody is even behind him and supports him. One, he can't even do the job. So just based on criteria to do the job, he can't. So why does he have that job? If you can't do the job, you shouldn't have the job. That's simple. Left, right, take it out of the equation. Take belief system out of the equation. Take all that stuff, out of the equation. He can't do the job. The vice president, she can't even talk. I think she smokes pot all day because she cackles like somebody that's high all the time. Um, and they can't. They should be fired if they were doing a job if they were working for somebody that relied upon them to actually hold their own and carry their own weight. They would have been cut free, you know, before their first month in office, they would have been cut free and let go. But anyway, do. Yeah, I think they think all the past is racist. Let me see. Joe says the radical left side want to tell us how we to raise our children, and if you want to have old-fashioned morals, we are going against their control. It's all about control. Eventually, but what they want to do is they want to mind fuck you so bad that up is down, down is up, side is left is right, right is left. They just want to mess everything so bad that you can't untangle everything. Everything just becomes so bad that then they're going to come in and they're going to go, this is how you fix it. Like that's what they did with healthcare. Okay. When I was young, healthcare was fine. The premiums were fine. There was open competition, right? Didn't like this insurance company, you could go with this insurance company. There was free exchange. It was business, right? So if this company wanted to compete against this company, they had to give you a better product at a better price. That's capitalism. Consumer wins. You get the ultimate say with your money. All this talk against that, whatever. But that's how it used to work. So what did the government do? Over decades, they kept legislating, making it harder and harder and harder for insurance companies to function. So then they became dysfunctional. Then, like in California, I don't know how it is in the rest of states, but insurance for your car wasn't mandatory. You could drive your car without insurance. Then they made it mandatory. I told everybody that was my peer group at the time, I said, this is bad. And I go, why? There's people that are uninsured. So, they should pay for their whatever. And it's like, yeah. But as far as being able to compete for good insurance rates, they just killed it. You have to have it. If you have to have it, you don't have a choice anymore. There's no choice. They took it out of the equation. Some people could argue like it's good because, if somebody hits you, you want them to have insurance. Yeah, but if you had insurance, you had, what was it? You could insure your car and the other person's car. So with your insurance, you could have both. So if somebody hits you and doesn't have insurance, who gives a shit? You already have coverage for that. So, and if it isn't your fault, then it doesn't matter anyway. So the thing is, it's kind of a moot point. It was a moot point, but what they did is they destroyed it. They made it to the point where they took the competition out of it. They took the free enterprise market out of it, and they dictated terms. So if it's mandatory, it's the law, you have to have it. Well, then whoever is providing the service can do whatever they want. What are you going to do? You need it, right? You have to have it. So that's it, right? Right there. Freedom's gone. So then they started making mandatory helmets for motorcycle. Well, you know what? If a motorcyclist doesn't want to wear a helmet, it's a victimless crime, right? If he doesn't see the merit in wearing a helmet, he's going to take himself out. Whether a motorcycle hits you and a guy has a helmet on or not, it isn't going to make a difference to you. It will make a difference to that rider. So the freedom of choice has been taken out. They have to have it, right? To me, it's a victimless crime. I mean, if you wanted to say something to be fair and go, well, passengers on a motorcycle have to wear a helmet, then you're looking out for somebody that isn't, they're just a casual participant. That works. Even helmets for bicycle, like little kids and stuff like that. There are adults that ride bicycles with helmets on. I don't see the merit of it. When I was a kid and I fell off my bike, I never fell on the top of my head or the kind of the back of my head. I always fell face first. Like, these helmets aren't even really going to help you if you fall. It's ridiculous. It's retarded. And if you ride a bike and you wear a helmet, that's your prerogative. That's up to you. If you want to do it. But when the law comes in and says you have to, it's really stupid. And I personally don't think it really protects you in any way that has merit to it. Just like, when the government's saying you have to wear like masks for COVID, I knew it was bullshit. Like, how could things not get through it? How could not things go through the side? It was dumb. It was really, really dumb. So I think it is about control, but with what I'm talking about, it's a long-term control, right? It's tear everything down, make things to where they don't work anymore. Government intercedes into free market enterprise, and then all of a sudden it falls apart. Like, that's all the government wants to do. In California, they were giving loans out to people that couldn't make a down on the house. Like, they couldn't pay like 10% or 20% down on the house. So they waived that, and people with like questionable credit or no credit, they were giving loans, 30-40 year loans to home buyers, right? And so within a couple years, that all fell apart. And then who came in? Bailed out, the banks, all this other stuff. It was the government. Who sold these loans to outside investors, outside the country investors? They just weaken things. They weaken stuff, and then they come in and then they recreate it in their likeness. So it's a way of taking control, making something that's functional, making things that are norm, that society, that work, tearing it apart and then recreating it. So it is a type of control, but it for this SJW type stuff and this agenda stuff, they're playing the long game because it's not our generation. It's the generations that have come after us that continue to come. They're the ones that if we don't fight this fight and win soon, they're the ones that are going to be indoctrinated. Transgenderism, I don't know, going to the library at an elementary school and seeing how to give a BJ to a guy, all this stuff is going to be normalized. It's going to be part of their lives. They're not going to know anything different. They're not going to know what freedom was. We can talk like this because we have perspective. They don't have that. And if they're raised by generation, that stuff will all go away. It'll all go away, and the powers that be know that, and that's what they're counting on. So they're playing the long game. So when you see stuff that doesn't make any sense now, like, oh, Disney's losing money, this is happening, they don't care, because it's the long game. These are people that already have $1 billion, and they're also working with a bunch of people that aren't holding them accountable. So stockholders are maybe in it for the same reasons. Maybe they're not all of them, but maybe some of them are just their agenda, their ideologues too. Yes, exactly. And you know what? That's when my eyes were completely opened. I think there was a series of events that led up to that. NAFTA was one. The Patriot Act was another. There were a series of things that kind of were eroding our freedoms. But then, yeah, it became so crystal clear in the second term of Obama, that it was all being manufactured. That's another thing. It was being manufactured. This racism in this country, like they were talking about. What racism? Were they going back to 1940, 1930, 1920s? Where were they? Where was this racism that they were railing against? I had really never seen it with my own eyes ever. I there were some like off-color jokes, that's what we call them, but everybody knew that they were off color. And usually if you said like a Polak joke to your Polish friend, and they didn't react well, then you stopped doing it. But every nationality was poked, there was fun poked at. If you were short or wore glasses, or your nationality, whatever it was, it was fodder, right? So I didn't see it. There's always going to be racism. There's always going to be racism. There always has been, and there will always be. There are always people that will judge people based on the way they look. That's it. That's it. It will always exist. There, black people can do it. White people can do it. Asian people, Hispanic people, Indian people. Everybody can do it. It's a human trait. It's not a skin color trait. We used to understand that. Ooh, OMAC. Yeah, yeah. And that's who they're going after as well. The man bun wearing population. I shouldn't say that. I'm not afraid to come out. I'm a Republican conservative who believes in God, not afraid. They can put me in on a list. I don't care. I back a Comicsgate, not Marvel or DC. Yeah, the same. Yeah, I say it all the time. I As long as I still have the support from you guys, this is where I want to retire. I want to retire doing exactly what I'm doing right now. So I think I probably have another 10 years in me. I'm hoping, and there's a lot of stories I'd still like to tell. And so I'm hoping that we can keep this thing strong. We can keep growing it, and just be independent, celebrate our freedom, you know. Yeah, seatbelts was another one. And the reason seatbelts were passed is because the auto manufacturers didn't want to put in airbags. So it was a delay tactic, and it was a deal worked out with the government. So the government, rightly so, wanted airbags in cars. And not all government's bad, you know, but the manufacturers say that there's a cost, and if we did it right now, it would hurt our bottom line, you know. So can we do it over a period of time? So they worked out a deal where they legally went with seat belts. So in the meantime, before uh, airbags were mandatory, they used the seat belts, and the seatbelt law is still in intact. Uh, I happen to think like seat belts are kind of like helmets. Like if you want to wear a seatbelt, you can. But if you have kids, you have, you know, like innocent people, I do think that they should be buckled up. So I think a blanketed seatbelt law isn't necessarily a bad idea. Just as, you know, airbags, these things have been proven to save lives. Um, so you know what I mean? I'm sure it was debated because the world used to be a lot more sane, and and so that came out of it. So there is some stuff that's not necessarily bad. Oh, this is fun. Art, oh my gosh, I forgot that you could get car insurance to cover if the other person didn't have insurance. Yeah, you could insure your car and their car. And it was it was reasonable. I had it as a kid, you know. And you know what? When I was a single guy and I was struggling sometimes, I didn't even have insurance, you know, because I couldn't afford it. So not that it was necessarily considered a luxury, but it was something that I could get rid of and take a chance at. And to be honest, I did get into a fender bender without insurance. It wasn't my fault. And the problem was the guy that hit me didn't have insurance either. So then what do you do? You know, your insurance cover isn't going to cover it because you don't have any, and their insurance. So at that point, you just have to wash your hands. So I tried to work it out with this guy. He was a kid. I tried to work it out with his dad. He made a couple payments and then stopped. And so I ended up having to pay for the repairs myself. So this stuff does happen, but it was on me, you know. It didn't help society necessarily. Um, and then seatbelts is just like they were provided for you. It didn't cost you money to use a seatbelt. You know what I mean? So it is a little different. Like insurance costs you money, but safety belts pretty much comes with the car. It's like a radio or, you know, or I don't know, disc brakes. Yeah, I agree. The damage Obama had done to this country will be considered staggering once we look back. I don't even think we have to go another 10 years. I think you can already see the damage. Back in the day, he was introduced, and sadly, his legacy is still carrying on. Yeah, in a naive way, because I will admit, I voted for him. I thought he was a good statesman. I thought when he was up on that podium and he was giving speeches and stuff like that, I thought he seemed very presidential, you know, if that's a word, you know, and he could represent, you know, America's interest to the rest of the world, and he was articulate. He looked squared away. And then on the side, I thought, well, maybe we can get past all this racial stuff once and for all, you know, like we can finally go. This is proof that America is not racist. And then everything that came out of that administration was divisive and divisive, however you want to say it. And and bad, just absolutely horrible. Um, just to the point of creating kind of like a you know a domestic battle, like left against right or whatever. Yeah, most states mandate full coverage if you have a loan on the car. That includes coverage for the uninsured cash or crash. Yeah, I kind of understand that too because it's not your car. If you're still making payments on it, technically it's not 100% your car. So I can understand that because they're like, you have to insure this because you know uh, it's kind of our car. But if you own the car outright, it's still mandatory. So these are things like that should have been worked out better, but whenever you see these rules or these laws that don't seem to benefit the consumer, then you know that it's benefiting either the government or that corporation. It's just that simple. Okay. Yeah, he did. I completely agree. Um, if that if that makes by the left's view a horrible person, so be it. I didn't see anything but tension. I didn't see any like let's move on now. We can finally put some of this stuff to bed. America's not racist. Instead, America became the most racist country in the world, and they forgot all about the Civil War, and they forgot all about great men that fought and died for independence, and rights and all this stuff. And it's pretty damn gross, actually. He fooled us all. Uh, he fooled all of us who were naive to the natural or to the nature of American politics. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's funny. 2008, Obama wanted your vote to prove you weren't racist, and then 4 years later called you racist anyway. Wow, that is really good. Well said. Well said. Yeah, and yeah, and like you guys were saying, we're still kind of paying the price for all that. Um, I'm gonna start wrapping it up because it's noon. We're no longer morning time. I guess California is still morning time. But I had this great shirt to show off. So let me back up a little bit here. So these are the new black and white shirts. So this is the front. Look at the collar is really cool. So they're kind of more jersey types, and the back has got this fantastic white image. So Red Valkyrie put these together for us. She's fantastic, great person, just great. Everybody in CG that I've met is absolutely fantastic. And so then we have, let's see if I can do this. Hackcheck Studios logo. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. There's the studios. That's on one sleeve, and then we have the black and white logo. Let me see. There we go. On the other sleeve. So I think we pulled these down, but anybody that has backed black and white, the shirts, that's what they're going to look like. What kind of material? It's like that breathable, like jersey material. It's let me see. So it's got a texture to it. It's pretty cool, actually. And then we got these are expensive shirts. We got the the collar, which looks really neat. It goes with the red in the design of the shirt. So if you guys back that, that's what the shirts will look like. Super cool, man. Everything with this campaign is absolutely fantastic. And you guys, if you haven't picked up the High Octane book yet, we're going to get these very shortly, and we're going to be closing the campaign down probably late next month. So March, a lot of things are going to be happening. So fulfillment on the campaign is going to be in full force, and we're going to be closing that campaign down, getting ready for the Oodles of Doodles and other stuff 2 campaign. So I want to thank each and one of you for hanging out with me. It's been great. These morning shows are fantastic. I like starting off my day, hanging out with friends. And I'm not a coffee drinker, so this is kind of my this could be my morning ritual. And you guys have a fantastic day. And take care. Be good to each other, and I'll see you on the next stream. Take care.